From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of In Focus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. We are here in the 22 News Plus studios. Today, we're talking about precision manufacturing here in the Pioneer Valley. I have two guests with me today. I've got Gavin Giguere and Ben Grande. They are both working with local companies that deal with precision manufacturing here in the Pioneer Valley. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining me. Greatly appreciate it. Ben, I'm going to start with you because you are the president of the acronym, exactly, WMN.
NTMA.
Yeah, whatever that is. So explain to me what it is.
So NTMA is the National Tooling and Machining Association,
Okay.
which is a national association of about 1,000 precision machining companies throughout the country.
Okay.
We are the Western Mass chapter. We're the WMNTMA. We're working on finding a new name. But
So how many companies are involved in that here in the Pioneer Valley?
We have about 60 member companies right now. So it's a combination of actual manufacturers, which are our regular members, and then we have associate members, which are kind of service providers to those manufacturers. Banks, tooling providers, coding, things like that. Companies that work with us but aren't actually machining parts, I guess.
All right. And Gavin, you're vice president of the organization. So what is the goal of the organization aside from, the way Ben described it?
The main goal really is to bring the local companies together, network, use each other as, suppliers, learn new things from each other, learn how each can be better from, just talking with each other. Also events that we host.
So have you found that the organization has been helpful to your two individual businesses?
Yes, I definitely think so. Just networking itself.
Okay.
Not only from the local level, but from the national level, just connecting with companies nationally that I wouldn't have connected with if I wasn't part of that association.
So, and by those connections, you're able to grow the individual businesses locally?
Grow the businesses, and it gives you more resources. Like I just got back last week from a national event in Detroit. We had the NTMA as a whole had their national conference, and you're there, you're networking, you're hanging out with other people. But I got back and I got a blueprint from a customer that had a coating on it that I didn't know anyone locally that did it. And actually, one of the women that we were hanging out with at the event, her company did that coating. So wow. I shot her a text and said, "Hey, can I send a quote in? Blah, blah, blah." They're out in New York. You know what I mean? We have a friend in St. Louis that we meet up with all the time.
So historically, not having that national connection, you wouldn't have been able to bid on that piece of business?
No, I probably would have, or I would have had phone book or something that I'd have been looking, or go on the internet. Now I have a direct route. I got a contact from a company that I know that does it in, I don't want to say I'm going to get preferred pricing, but certainly maybe preferred treatment, at least in getting a response back.
But like any industry, knowing people and being able to connect it opens doors.
Definitely.
So taking that same concept to a more local level, how do you work among the, your two, so of the 58 other companies that are around, do you regularly have meetings, make connections, and utilize each other's skill sets, utilize each other's company skill sets?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we regularly have meetings that gets everyone together that will help everyone kind of just talk with each other and just really get to know each other on a personal level. Then that helps with the business side of things where, like I am interested in using Ben as a supplier for some machining. So I can send him stuff for him to quote and kind of stuff like that, where if I didn't have those people, I wouldn't really know where to go unless I already had a setup.
So now is precision manufacturing here in Western Mass, is it all the same thing? So do you, I think of Western Mass as, precision manufacturing started with the, gun manufacturing. Smith & Wesson was here, Colt down in Hartford. Is it all like the same industry that you guys work in, or do you work in different spaces?
So we definitely work in different spaces. There is, obviously, we still have a fair amount of gun manufacturers around here. We are in Aerospace Alley, so a lot of which is kind of the Hartford up through Western Massachusetts, kind of the I-91 corridor
Okay.
is Aerospace Alley. And there's a lot of aerospace and defense manufacturers around here. And because of that cluster, there are, the associated other companies that work with us, coatings, heat treat, not necessarily machining, are all in this area. So it makes it easier for us to do business locally. We take it for granted, but other places around the country, they can't go 20 minutes and find a service provider for every single thing that they need to get done. We have that opportunity here. But no, we're focused in aerospace and defense, I would say, in this area, but there's a ton of other machining going on.
So what does your company specialize in?
So we're all over the board, but we've, in the past 10 years, we've kind of moved more towards aerospace and defense because those are longer term contracts. It takes some of the up and down that you see out of maybe commercial work. But we also focus on power generation, like water treatment plant parts. My company specializes in large parts, so our customers are all over the country.
Okay.
Gavin recently started a new job and is working primarily in aerospace and defense, I would say.
Yeah, primarily aerospace and defense, but also in other industries too. We're focused on like gears and stuff like that.
So it's not, so all the 60 companies, and that's not all the companies, those are just the member companies.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's tons more that are not necessarily members of our association.
But you make everything. I mean, I have to imagine, like I look at some of the equipment, I'll do a wide shot, some of the equipment in this room, the things that hold the cameras up, the mics on, that's precision manufactured items.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they come from, I don't know whether these came from locally or not, I have no idea. But that's the idea behind it, is you guys create products for whatever company.
A lot of it's super mundane, like you said, like stands and random things that, it's not all sexy turbine blades for a aerospace engine. You know what I mean?
We are up on our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about employment within the local precision manufacturing industry. We'll be right back after this.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back to this edition of In Focus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. We're in the 22 News Plus studios with Gavin and Ben talking about precision manufacturing. I'm going to throw the question out to either of you, whichever one wants to answer it. The industry as we stand here today in late 2025, what is the demand for employees? I know a lot of industries are struggling to find good staff members. Is precision manufacturing in the same boat?
I personally would say yes. Finding good employees or skilled laborers that want to show up to work is a little bit difficult. But a lot of people don't know what manufacturing is all about. And once they realize, what you can gain from it, I think then it's really like a sexy job.
So let's talk a little bit about that, Gavin. So what makes it a good job?
Most of the time it's good pay right off the start. Also, a lot of companies provide training that you don't have to really pay for, so that gets you trained up and more valuable for yourself. A lot of companies also pay for schooling, tuition reimbursement programs. A lot of people don't realize that, but it is a good avenue to even get into school.
One of the things I had heard is, we have some of our technical high schools in the area that kids can graduate a technical high school, get a job in manufacturing, have zero college debt because you're not going to college. And to your point, one of those jobs, one of those employers may then cover the cost for further education. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Yeah, I went that avenue. So
did you really?
Yeah.
So where did you go to high school?
I went to Westfield Vocational for grade school for manufacturing, and then after that, I went to night school for college. And was pretty much all paid for my companies.
That's fantastic. And how about you, Ben?
I went to the School of Hard Knocks. So I graduated from East Long Meadow High, went to a 4-year college, got a bachelor's in biology, did cancer research for a little while, and then my dad actually bought this company. I came with no manufacturing background. We didn't learn any of that at East Long Meadow, and kind of spent the last 15 years learning on the job, basically.
So now what would you say, or do you have the opportunity to go into local high schools and talk to kids about what you both do as a career?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going tomorrow to the Westfield Vogue open house. I go every year, bring a booth, show the parts and cool stuff that we would work on. Our association also represents there just to kind of just show like what all these companies can do. And there's probably 30 booths there at an open house.
Really?
With all the local manufacturers.
Now, do you get the opportunity to talk with the parents too, or just the students?
Typically the parents, because that open house is mainly for pre-high school, so middle school students to get involved in the trade school that may not know about it. So they're usually with their parents walking through, and usually the parents are more interested than the students. So, but it is a good event to get them more involved.
You know, as you're telling me this, I'm thinking of, you're really talking to 7th and 8th graders about what they want to do for the rest of their lives, not high school kids.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I've heard more recently from other companies too that the the trick that they've learned is, like you said, even a 17 or 18-year-old doesn't know what they want to do. You're convincing
Fast forward to my age, I don't know what I want to do.
So those kids are looking to their parents. Hey, is it okay for me not to go to college? Is that, so you're more convincing parents that this is a good career route. And then that makes it okay for the kids who may already be interested.
Well, your opening pitch should be, do you not want $200,000 in debt?
Exactly. Yeah.
Come over here.
Exactly.
Because, and I know some, Gavin, I know some kids who went through Westfield Technical Academy who are doing great.
Yeah.
With zero college debt. And I'm talking kids who went through probably in the last less than 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even need to go to college. That's just an option, right? So you can get out of trade school and make good money, create a good career for yourself, without going to furthering your education.
Now, are your businesses growing? So you made a comment earlier, Gavin, that they're safe and secure jobs. I mean, there's a lot of industries that really aren't safe and secure. What is the manufacturing business like today?
So I would say it's growing. I mean, this year's been a little up in the air. I think the whole economy obviously has been. Recently, at least at my company, things have started to open up. I think people have started to realize this is just how it is. It's time to spend that money. A lot of, at least in the aerospace and defense, obviously is tied to the government spending. But I know Gavin is looking to grow his company. I am also looking to grow mine. We're both working for smaller companies, so it's like it's kind of measured growth. It's not like this startup where we're going to add 100 employees a year. And it's hard, like we said, to find skilled employees. Adding 1 or 2 people a year adds a lot of money to the bottom line. Actually, at the end of the year, for a company that only has 20, 25 employees.
Right.
But as far as a lot of my employees now have been there longer than I have, 15, 20 years. But
those 15 to 20-year people are going to start to age out.
Right. So we're looking to backfill with younger folks.
Now, do you see the same problem where you are?
Yeah, I've seen it in every company I've been at where you have a 30-year, 40-year veteran there, and they're obviously going to start thinking about retiring.
Right.
So you do have to backfill them and find those trained people to come in and train under them for 6 months to 2 years to get
Well, that was my question, is how long is that training process? So whether I went to a technical high school or not, if you were to hire me today, what's the training like? Is it 6 months, 2 years?
It could be longer than that. I mean, for most machining positions, there's so many different things that they come through that you're not going to see everything.
I'm a 15-year trainee.
Yeah.
Good point.
No, but really, I mean, you're really learning stuff. You could be training under one of those guys for 3 years and still not know everything that they know, obviously.
Wow.
It's rare that even coming out of a tech school that you are going to go in and be productive. the second you get in your job. Like you said, manufacturing's so diverse that we can't teach all of that in a textbook. We can teach the basics, but it really requires sort of like an apprenticeship and working under someone who knows what that shop specifically does to teach you, how to be productive and how to make money for the company.
So even though there's a lot of on-the-job training, are our local technical high schools preparing students well enough to step into those roles to at least have the most basic of understanding?
For sure. I mean, they're going through everything that they can. And obviously in school, maybe is a little bit different than on-the-job training. It's real life experiences on the job. So you're going to experience real life issues. Everything doesn't always go the way it's planned. So then you have to figure out, how do we fix this? And, but yeah, I do think that the schools are prepping the students well enough. And associations like ours is trying to help them do that even better by, showing up to the advisory meetings. Here's what all of these local manufacturers are actually needing in the workforce.
Now, but you don't need a technical high school background, right?
No. So I have a bunch. Yeah, I would say it helps coming in with basic skills. If you find a company, though, like a bunch of my employees are kids that I went to high school with and played sports with, and they have like the team mentality, you know what I mean? And they were doing random odd jobs, driving a beer truck, driving a forklift, stuff that really had nothing to do with manufacturing, but we had the time and we had the need to bring them in, and they had that want to learn. And
that's crucial.
Now, I mean, these are kids, I call them kids. We're not kids anymore, but they get unlimited overtime. They're making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year working on, pretty neat aerospace and defense projects.
We're up on our next commercial break, but when we come back, we will talk about how technology, artificial intelligence is changing the industry. We'll be right back after this.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. Across the desk from me are Gavin, Giguere, and Ben Grande. They are in the precision manufacturing industry here in the Pioneer Valley. We're talking about the value of that industry from a multitude of standpoints, jobs, economy, and so forth. Now what I want to get into, boys, is how technology is affecting how you do what you do. You're probably both too young to remember the onset of CNC machining, computer, I don't even remember what the acronym stands for.
Computer numerical control.
Yeah, okay. So, that was huge to your industry, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But now it's completely different. Now you have modern powered computers. We're on the brink of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
How is all of that either helping your industry or hurting your industry?
Personally, I think it's helping. A lot of it's helping. There's a lot of new technologies coming out. Ben and I use AI daily basis for many reasons, business and personal. So, I mean, a lot of people are getting scared of AI and saying how it could take their job, which it's not necessarily taking people's jobs. It's helping people at their jobs become more efficient. Like a mundane task of writing a super long email that, it would take you a bunch of different drafts and whatnot. You can have ChatGPT write you an email that will give you exactly what you want to your customer or supplier in a matter of seconds.
So it's freeing up your time
to
tackle other more business priority related items.
Yeah, and there's softwares now being created through AI for helping program machines to get you, 90% of the way there, and then you still need that person to look it over and make sure it's going to work well.
What about things like RFPs? Does artificial intelligence help with that?
Yeah, so there is quoting software out there right now that uses AI, and you have to be a little careful, right? Because you're putting something out there on the internet, depending on if you're using like ChatGPT or any of those models. But
and in your industries where you're government contractors, you're going to be very careful.
Right, exactly. The government's very focused on cybersecurity right now, so you have to be very judgmental about what you're putting out there. But I've taken a blueprint put it right in ChatGPT, which is free, chatgpt.com. I guess I probably shouldn't be, but, and something that would have taken me probably 5 hours to quote, I got a quote back in 2 minutes that I had quoted this job, a slightly different revision of the blueprint, maybe 4 months before. And it was within like 1% of my manual quote that I spent 5 or 6 hours doing. It did in 2 minutes, and it lays the whole thing out for you. So it really makes some stuff simplified. You still have to review it because it can make mistakes.
But is artificial intelligence and technology taking jobs, or is it helping you be more successful at your job?
I would say for small businesses, it's not taking jobs. You see videos on TV about like, auto parts manufacturers where there is legitimately a robot out there doing. Maybe that's taking some jobs locally. We don't see it doing that. We see it helping, like Gavin said, make people more efficient, which manufacturing is all about throughput. The more we can get through the shop, the more people we can hire to get more through the shop. So by making people more efficient, then that just allows more jobs, personally, is what I see.
So in that scenario you just gave us with that blueprint, you're able to pump out more projects,
right? Exactly.
Make more sales,
yes.
Get more. What's the word? With the phrase throughput?
Throughput, yes.
Throughput. So you're able to create more throughput, which means you need more staff.
Exactly.
And you're making more money.
Right. Yeah. Like, in manufacturing, we always kind of joke or talk about it's the guys on the machines that are making money. I'm not getting paid. I mean, I'm getting paid, but we don't get paid to quote. That's a job that is free, essentially. The more quotes I can do, the more jobs we can potentially win. And then we need someone actually physically out there doing that work in order to ship it.
So there are there robotics involved to do some tasks, like some machining tasks, but you still need the human to make sure they're running properly.
There's automation being put into place in a lot of manufacturers, but you still need those people who need to program those, repair those, set them up. I mean, it definitely is not.
You're adding a second machine to the first machine to do that, and someone then needs to
keep an eye
run
on
that machine.
Right.
It's just helping, multiple machines being ran by one person, I guess.
So it's throughout this, it sounds like automation and technology are improving the business and creating jobs, not necessarily eliminating jobs.
Correct. That's what I would say. Yes. And there's also, right now there's a reshoring kind of initiative to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. And we've lost a lot of manufacturing over the years. So the more we can do here, the better, really.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, automation, if you're overwhelmed at the business and you can't keep up your capacity, then automation is something that helps that. And also with AI being involved is helpful.
Well, Ben and Gavin, I want to thank you both so very much. This has been a fascinating conversation, a little inside look at precision manufacturing here in the Pioneer Valley. Thank you both for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.